what is up? Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am going to read a chart so you guys can see my chart reading skills. And I am very super duper honored and excited to do this video because the person's chart that I'm reading is somebody who I really admire and who's been kind of an unofficial teacher for me and like a guru that I look up to very much. I have learned so much from them. I've been watching their videos and listening and taking notes and applying their methods to chart readings myself for the last few years. I've actually had a reading done by them, and they are the only astrologer that I've had a real full reading done from. And let me tell you, she is the bomb. She is excellent. She is lovely. I am talking about Astrolada. I'm talking about Lada Duncheva. She allowed, actually my friend, my astro buddy Kajaya was supposed to do this chart reading, but he was unable to. So he handed it over to me, and I am totally stoked and honored to do this. So I'm just going to go over a few things. I'm not going to make it too long. To show what makes her such an admirable person, but also what makes her such a great astrologer. So first of all, myself being a person who is very Venusian, ruled by Venus, and loves beauty and, you know, nature and Venusian things, I have to point out, of course, first of all, that she has her moon in Leo. So the moon is your emotional well-being, your inner thoughts, what makes you comfortable. And her moon is in Leo. So Leo is a very diplomatic sign, but they're very creative, very much into their looks. So how they look affects how they feel. If they don't look good, they don't feel comfortable putting themselves out there, whether on a video or walking to the store down the street, or you know, if company comes over and they haven't gotten ready for the day, a lot of times a moon and Leo person is going to be like, I'm not ready to be seen yet. They always make sure that their looks are on point, which is one reason why I tried to make sure that I got fly for my girls' video. So I hope it worked out okay. But anyway, so Moon and Leo people, you know, they're all about their looks, and she does make sure that on her videos, her looks are top notch. She always looks very beautiful. It looks like effortlessly beautiful to me. But her moon is also located in the 7th house of her chart. So what is the 7th house? It corresponds with the 7th sign of the zodiac, which is Libra. So it's a very Libran energy. And Libra is the sign of Libra is ruled by the planet Venus. So that's another Venusian type of energy, you know, like she really makes her videos aesthetically pleasing. She makes sure that her appearance looks good, and she makes sure that the background looks good. She's in beautiful scenery and locations. So that's one thing that also drew me in, because I'm very drawn in by aesthetically pleasing images, you know. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out about how her personality shows in her videos. Oh yeah, and plus, Moon and Leo people are all about their hair, and her hair always looks good. And yes, she's always like, you know, messing with her hair and stuff. Like Leo people will do that. So if you notice that, that's why. And another thing I wanted to point out is the fact that she has an Aquarius ascendant. So her ascendant is, you know, the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon right when she was born. And it's an Aquarius. And Aquarian women are very unique in their appearance. You know, your ascendant, it leads into your first house of your chart, and that rules your appearance. So she's very unique. She wears this unique pair of glasses that I notice a lot of people will be commenting and asking about. Where'd you get those glasses? They're so cool. Like, she has like a little unique, stylish look to her. So those are just a few things that I noticed that really stand out visually about her that you can, you know, see from reading her chart. I wanted to also point out that she has a stellium of planets, which means she has 3 or more planets in the 3rd house of her chart. Now, I know if you use the Placidus system, and this might be a little advanced and nerdy for some people, but if you use the Placidus house system, her stellium of planets actually is in the 2nd house. But if you go by, and I'm using a technique that I actually learned from her, if you go by an ancient astrology technique where you take the signs, you count the signs, not the houses or house cusps necessarily, it's the signs. So her first sign in her chart, it starts with Aquarius. That's number one. Number two is Pisces, and number three would be Aries. So she has a stellium that's in the third sign. So it does give her a third house quality. And what are third house qualities? What's the third house? Well, if you count the signs in the zodiac in general, you know, Aries is number one, Taurus is number two, Gemini is number three. Three, the third house. So the third house is like a Gemini kind of energy. It is quick-witted. They talk very fast. She does kind of talk fast, you know, but they talk fast and they're witty. They are very great speakers. So she has that Gemini third house energy going on where she can communicate very effectively. And the third house is one of the houses that rule teaching. You know, you can learn a lot of new skills and you can teach them in return. It rules kind of like the skills that you learn in, say, like elementary. It's like elementary school level type of skills. But astrology is anything but elementary school level type of education. But I'm saying she's a very great teacher because of the stellium in the third house. She has Mercury, the Sun, Venus, and Mars all in the third house. So the third house energy is also a little bit of like a nervous energy. So if you notice in her videos, she does kind of have to always fiddle with microphones and technical difficulties, you know. The third house is one of the energies that rules technology. So, you know, technological issues might occur if you have like all this energy flying around all the time within that house, you know, that type of energy always is constantly moving and everything. If you use the Placidus system and you go by house cusps, she has her stellium of planets in Aries, which is Mercury, Mars, Venus, and the Sun, all in the second house. Now, what is the second house? The second house is like a Taurus energy because, you know, Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac. And here's some more Venusian, Venus-ruled energy because Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So if you have planets in the second house of your chart, it's going to be like a Taurus energy. You're going to really enjoy Venusian pleasures of life. You're going to enjoy the beauty of nature. So that's why she films a lot of things in nature. She has these backgrounds that have these beautiful natural scenes, especially ones that have flowers. The Taurus, people with Taurus energy love flowers, love the spring, love nature. If you were born within, you know, the spring months, a lot of times spring is within you and you really love nature and, you know, grass and trees and flowers and things like that. So I noticed she has a lot of that stuff in the background of her videos. Okay, now to the really, really important stuff. One thing that also makes her a very great astrologer and teacher is the fact that she has Mercury in aspect, which is actually the opposition aspect, to Jupiter. Now, Mercury, Jupiter people. Jupiter is the higher mind, like higher education, okay? It's guru status type of learning, right? So she has Mercury receiving energy from Jupiter. That means that the way that she communicates is like, she could communicate like a professor, like a guru, like somebody who has this higher mind knowledge. She's able to communicate effectively and learn like a little bit about everything. You know, that's why if you notice, she applies methods of not only Western astrology, but also some Vedic techniques and also ancient Jaimini astrology. She applies all these different techniques into her own practice. She is a Western astrologer, but the charts, if you go on her website, you pull up your birth chart calculator. She has the circular Western chart, but she also has the chart that's used in Vedic astrology. And I know that can kind of confuse some people, but once again, you know, she uses different techniques within her practice. And that is very unique and it's very effective as well. So also, she has Mercury in aspect to Saturn. Now, Saturn is learning in a sense of like learning things that are structured, learning structured, really structured information, really important, deep thinking information, right? information that you have to really study hard. It's about hard studying. So she really had to study hard to learn astrology, to be able to teach it. It was not very easy for her at first to learn everything, but over time, gradually, because Saturn is all about building gradually learning skills. It's like, imagine Saturn representing something like going to get like a doctorate degree, right? It'll take some time, it'll take some years, but it's like you slowly climb the mountain higher and higher until you reach that high achievement. So that's what she had to do with astrology, and that's also something that makes her a great teacher of astrology. And the fact that Jupiter and Saturn are in the 8th house of her chart, okay, the 8th house is like Scorpio, it's like a scorpionic energy. So that sign and that energy rules the occult, like occult studies, and astrology does fall into that. So she is able to really study the occult hard and really teach it very well and obtain all this information and absorb it and be able to give it right back out. Now, if you go by the house cusps and, the Placidus system chart, yeah, they're in the 8th house. But if you go by sign alone, Scorpio is 9 signs away from Aquarius. Her ascendant is Aquarius. That's where her chart starts. So Saturn and Jupiter are also conjunct. They can be counted as being conjunct in the 9th sign, in the 9th house. The 9th house is like a Sagittarian energy, which is all about philosophy and higher learning and higher education and really reaching high and going outside of the normal everyday life. You can learn about other cultures, other countries, and things like that. It's like really expanding your knowledge really far and wide. So that's why Saturn and Jupiter are conjunct there, and they aspect Mercury. So she's able to communicate and teach that way with that type of energy flow between those two planets, between those two planets up there in the 9th, going down to her Mercury in the, the 2nd and 3rd or whatever. So also, I wanted to point out that she has Pluto in the 8th house, but in the 9th sign. Okay, so you can count the 8th house and the 9th house type of energies flowing through her Pluto. Pluto aspects her Sun, Venus, and Mars. So, and she has Sun, Venus, and Mars in Aries. Normally, you would not associate Aries with being very intuitive, and astrology does require some sort of intuitive abilities. But Pluto is one of those planets that rules intuition. It rules psychic ability. It rules being able to really dig deep and get into occult knowledge and occult studies and really dive deep into those things. It rules the underworld. The underworld is the most out there planet that there is. It's the furthest away from us. So it really likes to dive deep into things that are unknown. It rules the unknown. So if she has 3 planets that are her personal planets, Sun, Mars, and Venus, all being aspected by Pluto, she receives this Plutonian energy. So she does have a highly intuitive abilities. You have to have those in order to be a great astrologer. Anybody can read and communicate knowledge and things like that, and words and data, but you have to have an intuition. And this lady definitely has that intuition because of that Plutonian energy. Also, she has a grand trine in fire with the moon in Leo, Neptune in Sagittarius, and the sun in Aries. They all form this triangle, okay? And it's a harmonious aspect, which means the energy flows very harmoniously between all of those planets. So she's receiving energy from Neptune. Neptune rules, it's another one of those planets that rule like intuition and psychic abilities, like the ability to kind of just pick up on things and just know things, and people will be like, how do you know this? You just receive that information from, like, it seems like out of nowhere. So Neptune, Pluto rules that, and also Neptune does. So the sun is receiving information from Neptune, receiving energy from Neptune, and also the moon. So emotionally, she could be a very sensitive person, even though she's an Aries. Aries is known for being kind of direct and in your face, but she has this energy received from Neptune that does kind of soften those things and also gives her a very, very keen intuition. She's able to tune into the emotions and the thoughts of other people. So that is something that is required with being a great astrologer, because you can tune into the needs of another person and you can figure out what they need. She's able to communicate those things through her Mercury and Jupiter. You know, whatever she's learned, she's able to just communicate effectively. Whatever she picks up on from another person, she has that ability to speak and really be intelligent and just have the words just flow out. Whatever is coming through from her intuition, from Neptune and Pluto type of energy, she can effectively communicate that to another person and be able to counsel them, you know, because she has that guru quality to her. So she has like that counseling ability. Now, something else that I noticed that really makes her a successful and great astrologer is she has the planet Uranus, which rules technology, but it also rules outer worldly information, the unorthodox. It rules having an open mind towards out of the box theories. It also helps you to see patterns in things, be very forward thinking, and be able to kind of see into the future in a way. She has that planet right on her midheaven. And your midheaven is the highest point in your chart that is actually the cusp of the 10th house of your chart. That rules career. It rules your social status, how the rest of the world sees you, the public sees you. So she has that planet in her career sector. It's right on the cusp, right on the midheaven. So that means that she was destined to do something that was out of the ordinary, unorthodox, that has to do with studying something that is not of the norm, okay? Uranus is one of the planets that rules astrology. So she has that planet there right on her midheaven. So that's why it shows she was destined to be an astrologer. Now, I wanted to throw in a couple of cool asteroids that I found that really show significance in her chart, okay, with like her personality and career and things like that. So first of all, I noticed that there's an asteroid named Lada, L-A-D-A, and she has that asteroid conjunct her Mercury. So that means that the name Lada is a name that was destined to be very significant in her life. The fact that it's conjunct a planet by 3 degrees and it's a personal planet, you know, which, so that tells you that her name was destined to be Lada, or it was destined to be a name that's a part of her life. So an asteroid that can show you someone who is very, very good with astrology is an asteroid that's named Astro Wizard. And she has that asteroid making a trine aspect to her ascendant. It also makes a trine aspect to her Jupiter and her Saturn. So the study of astrology is something that she was destined to be an astro wizard, okay? She's destined to be that. She's destined to study that. She's destined to become that because it aspects her ascendant. Your ascendant is like a huge part of who you are. She also has the asteroid named Astronomia conjunct her Mars and her Sun. So Mars is like your pursuit of things, you know, and your drive. So she was driven towards astronomy, which is in conjunction with astrology because it's a study of the planets. And your Sun, it's your ego and things like that, but it also is an indicator of career. So she has Astronomia conjunct her Sun. which represents career, then that means she was destined to have a career in astrology. I remember in one video she's telling the story about how she found astrology, how she was drawn to it, and she had this book fall off of a shelf right in front of her more than once and open up, and it's a book about astrology. So really the universe was calling her towards astrology, calling her towards her destiny. She also has the asteroid Bulgaria. Now she was born in Bulgaria. Okay, that's where she's from. She has the asteroid named Bulgaria conjunct her Venus. So she really does, even though the sign of Aquarius can be a bit detached when it comes to family, they are very universal. They're all about building networks of people who are like-minded individuals that might not necessarily be related to you by blood. They might not be family, so they can count friends as being family and things like that. And she's, moved away from her home country of Bulgaria to live in London. But the fact that she has the planet Venus conjunct Bulgaria, the asteroid Bulgaria, tells me that, Bulgaria was destined to be a part of her soul's incarnation into this body, into this lifetime. So she really does have a connection with her home country and with her culture, Bulgarian culture. I'm sure that she still does, even though she is a citizen of another country now, So those are just a couple of cool things that I noticed about her chart that really stand out to me and that really flavor her personality and also make her such an awesome astrologer. And I really, really hope she enjoys this video if she watches it. And I am going to continue to watch her videos and follow her because she is awesome. If you have not checked her out, I will send you a link. I'll post a link to her YouTube channel or to one of her videos so that you can find her. So one thing that I noticed when I had a reading done by her is that it was like talking to one of my girlfriends. She's very personable, very friendly and chatty and things like that. So, that I would attribute to the fact that she has her moon in the 7th house and she has her moon trine her sun and Venus, so she's a very personable person and very easy to talk to because she has that easygoing flow of energy between her moon and her sun and Venus. So it brings like a softness and femininity. She can be very masculine and very in your face, being an Aries, but the moon kind of softens those qualities a little bit, as well as Neptune. Neptune, as I explained earlier, gives her the ability to connect with another person and connect with their needs. So I would highly, highly recommend that you hit this lady up for a reading. She is awesome. She's a very busy woman. If you can get in with her, I would definitely recommend her. So thank you very much for watching, and please, please excuse any of the loud noise in the background at my house. If you know anything about numerology, when I add up all the numbers on my address, it breaks down to the number 3. And if you live in a house that's a number 3 house, it's going to be a very busy house. You're not going to really have that much peace. And it's not going to be like peace and quiet very often. There's going to be like noise and all kinds of technological things going on all the time, 24/7. So yes, I have a lot of noise in the background. Please excuse that. I hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more.